Hello and welcome to BQ Prime. A very good afternoon to all the viewers. I am Hiral Dadia. Clearly, if you see in terms of where markets go, Nifty 50 around below the 18,700 mark, and you have Bank Nifty as well, which is inched below the 43,500 mark already. So volatility seems to be pretty high. We started off in the negative, tried getting scaling to almost levels of around 18,794 in trade, but again a sharp correction that has come in and we've hit a low of 18,669 already. Joining us on the show to discuss more is Sudeep Shah from SBI Securities. Sudeep, good afternoon and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon to all the listeners.
Sudeep, my first question coming to you is let's start today with Bank Nifty because clearly participation from Bank Nifty becomes crucial. 44,000 is that absolute support that we're trying to break. Every time we surpass those 44,000 levels, what's the sense that you're picking up overall in terms of Bank Nifty from here on? If you have to look at the demand and supply side of it, as well as the overall picture.
Yeah, Hiral. So what's happening with Bank Nifty is that it has moved too fast in the month of between March and May, and now last 15-20 days we are seeing some kind of a resistance around 44 500, 44 300 kind of levels. And today the like all these news flow regarding the monsoon being delayed and repercussions and effects regarding those. So that is getting a toll on Bank Nifty. And also one thing we need to understand is that prior to this move between 42,000 and 44,500, it was because IT was not performing, so Bank Nifty moved too much on a faster note. But now what we are seeing is that because of all these news and the reality regarding the monsoon and the expectation being set in, we are seeing some kind of a selling pressure. Plus, what has happened is that last 14, 15 sessions, Bank Nifty was defending this 43,800, 43,750 mark. And it is today, this fall marks breakdown of the 14, 15 days low. So that becomes all the more crucial. So I feel now 43 I feel now 43,700, 43,750 will now act as a strong resistance going forward. And on the downside, important supports would be around 42,800, 42,900, from where in the month of May it had bounced back.
Right. So that's with regards to where, Bank Nifty goes. Now, if you see in terms of Nifty as well, the expectation was that around 18,700 is where we will see some bit of consolidation that could be on the cards. The bias still remains positive. However, on the downside, 18,700 put strike is holding substantial OI, which is acting as an immediate support level as well. What's the levels you're tracking overall? Because clearly it's near the crucial supply zone, and you have the HNI as well as the retailers that have turned net sellers on the index futures.
Hiral, if we see the index option chain, what we are clearly able to mark out is that from the not because today the expiry is now only 7-8 minutes, so it's important to see what is being developing in the next week's option chain. And there we are seeing a continuous unwinding of all the at the money puts. So that means that some the data is indicating that there could be some more downside in the offing. And what can happen is that index can retest this 18 500 18 550 mark before a rebound. So at higher levels around 18 750 18 770 there would be selling pressure, I feel. And we could retest 18 500 550 zone, and that would be much healthier, because in the last 7-8 days, although index was in a range, but a lot of mid caps have run up and we have seen some extraordinary gains. So it is important that the market cools off for a while, takes its breath back, and then once again starts moving ahead.
Right. So, Sudeep, everyone has been talking about expiry where we would probably end above those life high levels already. But taking the weekly options data into consideration, clearly the next series is showing, straddled trades at around 18,800, which absolutely tells us that it's a pretty neutral strategy that we are seeing. Now, along with the put and call activity at 18,700, do you think it's giving you an indication that a narrow range is what we are expected to see for next week as well, and there is a slight likelihood where we might not achieve the life high levels in this expiry?
Most likely, I feel so, because if we see the next weekly expiry, if we see 18,700 individual strike price, put call ratio, that is around 0.4, 0.5. And what we are seeing is 18,700, 18,750, 18,800, all the puts have witnessed unwinding. That means that the confidence is lacking at higher levels, and there could be some kind of a consolidation between 18,500 and 18,700 before we make the next move on the upside.
Right. Now, let's look at little bit of stock specific action in trade today. Let's start off with overall companies like L&T Finance. Clearly, there is some bit of bullish position that has been taken on this counter. What's your view?
See, L&T Finance, if we see the charts closely now, this stock is at its highest level after March 2020. So prior to this February 2020, stock had retested 120.23, and today the stock has retested 121. So it's after 3 years that the stock has broken out after a big consolidation. So I feel that it's just because of the markets that are weak today. Otherwise, the stock would have gained further from here, and it's a buy on all dips for us. So I feel 110 will act as a strong support, and on the upside we could see levels of 128 to 135 coming in the next few months.
Right, so that's with regards to where L&T goes. How are you looking at a Godrej Properties in trade today, Sudeep? Because Godrej Properties as well as IDFC First Bank are also seeing some bullish trends in today's session.
Similarly, now if you see Godrej Properties also, the stock is at its highest level after May 2022. So it is at its yearly high, and a big consolidation. We have seen a breakout out of a big consolidation now. So if we see, and most of the real estate stocks now, Godrej Properties, you see, you have Prestige, Oberoi Realty, all have made bullish trends, and even Nifty Realty for that matter. So I feel from current levels also we could see some kind of a decent up move going into the next week in this stock. So 1500, 1520 will act as a strong support. And on the upside, we could see levels of 1680 to 1700. And also, one more important perspective here is that the stock has crossed its 100 weekly moving average on the weekly chart. So that is very important. Now, last it had tested, that was in the last year, July 2022, and today is the first time it is once again breaking past that. So it's a very important move in this stock. And if we now IDFC First also, if we see the charts closely, it's a similar chart now. It's on a breakout after many years. It has given a big breakout on the upside. And I feel from the current levels, the stock could move up to 88, 90 levels. On dips around 76, 77, this stock will be a very good buy. And one more thing, important thing to note here is that even despite the weakness in Bank Nifty and a lot of private banking counters today, this stock is holding strong. So that means that there is some higher relative strength also in this counter, and this can be bought on any dip. So the stop loss for the same would be around 75, 74, and on the upside, we could see levels of 88 and 92 being achieved in this stock.
Right, so that's with regards to overall in terms of the few of the names that we've discussed as well. How are you looking at Tata Chemicals? There is a short built up seen in today's session in terms of Tata Chemicals, Sudeep.
Here, if we see the charts of Tata Chemical now, the stock is in a downtrend. It is just consolidate. It was just consolidating in the last 5-6 months, because of from October 2022, from the highs of 1200, the stock in within 2 months had corrected to 850, 870, and thereafter it is just consolidating in this symmetrical triangle, and the breakdown will be below 930. So in case the stock breaks 930, I feel the stock is headed up to 800, 820 on the downside. So I would not recommend going long on any dip into this stock. Any rises in this stock until and unless it crosses 985, 990 will be met with selling pressure. I feel if anyone is holding this, should at least consider reducing or shifting it to some other outperforming stocks.
Right, so that's with regards to where Tata Chemicals go. Apart from that, two financial names, IndusInd Bank as well as a Bandhan Bank, Sudeep. Again, there is some bearish signals that we're picking up on both these counters as well, taken the way the open interest addition has been. What's your view?
Hiral, I feel IndusInd Bank, although it has faced selling pressure today, but it has been one of the best performers in the last 1.5 months. From the lows of 1080, 1090, it has moved to almost 1330. So a small correction here could be a good entry, a good opportunity to go long once again, because the stock is in uptrend, and I feel the stock is headed up to 1380, 1400. Dips to 1290, 1285 should be used to go long, and I feel the stop loss for the same would be 1260 for IndusInd Bank.
Right, so that's with regards to where IndusInd Bank goes. Sudeep, apart from the names that we've discussed, anything that comes to your radar, which one should look at from tomorrow's trading perspective?
DMart is one name which straight away comes to my mind here, because what we've seen in DMart, there are two three things that has happened. DMart has crossed its swing resistance of 3750, which is the highest level of last 12 months, plus 6 months. I'm sorry, and prior to that, it even had a downside gap here, which was created in January. So the stock has crossed that also, and 200 DMA has also crossed successfully today. So I feel DMart could be bought with 3900, 3880 stop loss, and 4050 and 4100 target.
Right. So DMART is one counter that we should be watching out for as well. Thank you, Sudeep, so much for joining us on the show and giving us those views in terms of the individual names that we've already discussed. But as Sudeep was mentioning, clearly there is good amount of resistance that's coming in with regards to Bank Nifty. There is consolidation that we are seeing in terms of markets as well. And there is a high possibility where this expiry as well, we might not achieve the life high levels on Nifty 50. So it's going to be an interesting week ahead as well to understand where the markets are heading. But the underlying tone is absolutely positive. In terms of the breadth right now, we've absolutely turned in favor of the bears, and we're nearly at near the day's lowest levels. We've hit in a low of 18,669, and the closure is somewhere in that range of 18,683 as we speak. On the stock specific end, Apollo Hospital, Divis Laboratories, Dr. Reddy, Cipla, BPCL. So it's the pharma pack which has come to the rescue. Hero Motor, 3.5% kind of cuts coming in there, as well as the financials. And Wipro is one of the counters from the IT pack which has been putting pressure. If you see in terms of the Sensex as well, clearly cuts of little over 300 points coming in on the Sensex in today's session. And in a lot of stock specific action, you had the likes of HEG Graphite, which saw some smart moves in today's session. Polymed was another one. Morpin Laboratories, another one which saw some smart gains. Car Trade was under pressure. Prestige was under pressure. Z under pressure as well. Spandana Spurti under pressure. So a lot of movers and shakers in trade today, a lot of stock specific action. Newsmakers have been there as well, but clearly you have bank, IT, as well as metals who have been a drag. And it's interesting to see how metals have been a drag, because yesterday's session as well, we had seen some great momentum in terms of metal counters. The news that was coming in from China as well in today's session was something which we thought will give a further boost, but it seems that was already priced in terms of the metal sector, and that's the reason why we saw that kind of an up move in terms of metal counters in yesterday's session. Overall, if you see broader markets as well, the mid cap as well as the small cap index have ended pretty much flat. So overall, an interesting day of trade, great amount of volatility that we've seen on the cards, and key is going to be from here on as to what's the kind of direction we are expected to see, because consolidation is absolutely on the cards, and that's what we have been witnessing so far as well. That's all that we have on this session. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and lots more lined up on the other side. Please stay tuned to BQ Prime.